I just couldn't stand up anymore. And at that moment, I realized that. And I realized like, I have to stop what I'm doing. I have to drop everything that I'm doing, move to Paris and do something related to art. I don't know what that's going to be, but that's what I have to do. And I was so scared. And at the same time, I understood that was the calling of my heart, and that's what I needed to do.
Welcome to Latinx in Power, a podcast that will share stories of amazing Latinx leaders. Hosted by Thaisa Fernandes, a proud Latina in tech, program, and product manager living in Silicon Valley and sharing her experiences.
Welcome to Latinx in Power. It's an immense pleasure to talk with you today.
Hi, Thaisa. Thanks for having me. The pleasure is all mine. It's an honor to be here.
Today, I'm going to talk with Olivia Lobo Goulart. She has a bachelor's degree in international relations and affairs. Olivia also studied art history, design, and visual communications when she was based in France, and UX design in San Francisco. Olivia is a media content editor, QA and music specialist, graphic and UX designer, and also photographer. Did I miss something? Oh, actually, she's also a localization specialist. Olivia is a media content editor working on-site at a Fortune 100 company. She lived in 4 different countries and now she's based in Cork, Ireland. And I want to first ask you, what does it mean to be a Latina for you?
Yeah, for me to be a Latina, I think it means to be connected with Mother Earth, to be connected with your ancestors, well, with my ancestors. I don't know, I have this image of, like being connected to nature and knowing how to handle the herbs and make healing teas and whatnot, and being connected to the ocean, to the mountains, to the nature in itself, with the animals, with everything. And this motherly attitude, of like taking care of others and like embracing people. It was like, like when you're, like we say in Brazil, mãezona, that takes care of everybody and that is helping everybody.
I really love what you said. I never heard anyone mentioning the connection and also the motherhood part. I really like that. What are you most proud of?
So the story that pops to my mind when thinking about what I'm most proud of is when I was 4 years old, I encouraged my dad to quit smoking. And it was something really huge for me at the time, because the story goes that I was 4, but I still had pacifiers. So my dad would always be bugging me like, you're too big. You're a very big girl now and you can't be with the pacifiers anymore and you're going to ruin your teeth and blah, blah, blah. And I'd be like, I had 5 of them, like one for playing, one for sleeping, one for, I don't know, like I couldn't sleep without my pacifiers. And I was always bugging him because of the cigarettes, because at the time people could smoke anywhere and they could smoke in the car with the kids inside. So we were on a road trip. And my dad was smoking and all that smoke was coming to the back seat. I'm like, Dad, when are you going to quit this? It's horrible. I hate it and blah, blah. And my dad was kind of annoyed because I had said that several times over the road trip already, every time that he would light up a cigarette. And then he said like, okay, here's the deal. If you quit your pacifier, I'll quit smoking. Okay, deal? I'm like, okay, gonna think about it. And then I sat on the back of the car and then I remember I was quiet for the rest of the trip. And I really got into that. Like, I think it was the first time in my life where I realized, of course, I didn't know the word was determination at the time. But, like, I think I had the first time that feeling of I have to be determined to overcome this, like to be able to let go of this thing that is so important for me. It's like a part of myself kind of, and I have to let it go so something better can happen. And then when we arrived at the boats that we needed to take after the car, it wasn't very sustainable at the time. But like I took all my pacifiers, I got all of them and I threw them on the water. And then my mom, like my parents, they were like, what? They even took pictures of it, like tried to, and I was looking and I cried and I cried and I cried so much that I was letting it go. But then and my mom, I think she saved one of them or she bought another one and she tried to give it to me. And I refused. I was like, no, this is over. I'm going to do this so my dad can quit smoking. And And then he had to quit smoking because otherwise his daughter would never respect him forever.
He definitely didn't have like any choice, right? Because it wasn't just like a trade-off. It was like a trade-off, a compromise, and some drama. So
yeah. Exactly. He was like, every time he's like, dude, I had no idea what I was getting myself into. Yeah. But that was pretty big. And then my mom also quit smoking after because she's like, this is ridiculous. I'm not going to be the only smoker now after all this, you know? So, yeah, they both quit smoking. And I was like, wow, awesome.
You changed your career and reinvented yourself along the years. You studied international relations and affairs, art history, and visual communication. How was this experience being?
I think I would say it's been beautifully challenging. Lots of ups and downs, obviously, but mostly it's been a journey about learning how to follow my heart and how to really let go of everybody's opinion. Because right after, so the first thing I studied was international relations, and I had dreams to be a diplomat or work in United Nations, and, you know, and then on the first year or second, I was like, that's definitely not for me. Like, I cannot do this. I can't work in a consulate and have people controlling my life over the weekend if I can travel or not. I need to be more free. And then the right thing to do, you know, like the next best thing to do was to start the master's. And I started the master's. I got scholarship in a really notorious university back in São Paulo. And at the time, I went to Paris with my parents for like summer vacations. And I had an encounter with, well, first the city. I had always the dream to go to Paris. But also when I got there, I went to the Musée d'Orsay to see the Impressionists. And there was so much emotion, and I was really overwhelmed. Like, oh my God, I'm going to see these paintings in front of me for the first time. I was really excited. And I got there, and when I got into the Van Gogh section, after seeing like all the other ones, it was just like super immersive experience. I was super into it. And I got into the Van Gogh's section. And you know, like when you're getting into the ocean and you're not really paying attention, and a wave comes and like sweeps you away, and you're like, and you're like, oh my God, what's happening? And then I was like, oh, okay, I'm back on my feet. And then I just felt so touched by everything. And when I stopped in front of this painting, I felt weak on my knees, and I just couldn't stand up anymore. I just sat down and I burst into tears. It was something really crazy. And at that moment, I just knew, because his colors, like all the Impressionists are amazing. I love them. But when you see Van Gogh's colors, they were so intense, and he had so much courage to show his colors, even though nobody understood them and everybody thought he was crazy. But still, he had the courage to follow his heart and to do what it was like his purpose, or the calling of his soul, or whatever you want to call it. And at that moment, I realized that. And I realized, like, I have to stop what I'm doing. I have to drop everything that I'm doing, move to Paris and do something related to art. I don't know what that's going to be, but that's what I have to do. And I was so scared. And at the same time, I understood that was the calling of my heart, and that's what I needed to do. So, like, my mom, she found me sitting on the floor and was like, oh my God, what happened? Is everything okay? You know, it was just like, I couldn't even say anything. It was just like too much information. It was kind of like a download, like the system failing. I couldn't even process. But that's what I did. So I think all this journey and each place, it's been really learning every step to follow my heart and to learn what's the difference between what's in my mind and what's in my heart. Because the heart, it knows where you need to go. And the trust from the heart is a different trust from the mind, because the mind is logic, right? So you think 2 + 2 = 4. So you know how much of a time it's going to take you to walk across a room. But life is a mystery. And many things can happen between point A and point B. And it can ruin all your plans. Like, look at what's happening to us at the moment. most of our plans have been ruined. And this is the mystery of life. Like you don't know. And that's like consciously I know this, but obviously when you're going through stuff, it's really hard and it demands to practice patience and acceptance and a lot of other things. But it's been a journey about following my heart and really knowing like, okay, I'm going to drop everything and this is what I'm going to do. And then, so I went to Paris and I changed everything. I didn't know how to speak any French, so I had to learn French first and then start working and start learning the culture, like find out what exactly I was going to do because I knew I wanted to do something with art, but I had no idea what. So I started studying art history and then I found like design schools. I'm like, this is interesting. So I went to the visual communications, design. It was really like experimentation, you know, it was really about, I have no idea what's in the other side, but this is a calling that I have to do.
This is really impressive.
Yeah. And I think that it's definitely very scary. It's kind of like it's a shot in the dark, you know, you have no idea where it's taking you, but it's just about faith and about trust, you know, and I think that for me, that's something that might be helpful for people. Like whenever I imagine myself in a situation, is like if I feel there's a light, I feel I'm happy, I feel like good emotions coming of this mental image. If I see a light on that, like it's because it's aligned to what I need to do. But if there's something that is like, I don't really like this mini aspect of this mind projection, but if there's anything, then don't go there. But if you see a light and you like when you project yourself and you imagine in that situation, like go for it.
This is so interesting how sometimes maybe at a really young age, we have this idea that we have our life figured out. We know what we are going to do and everything's linear. We just need to follow a path. And this path is super clear and you're just like 100% happy doing the things you need to do. And in fact, the reality, it's so different. Our path, it's not linear most of the time. It's messy. We do one thing and then we change our minds or something goes wrong. We need to adapt all the time. And sometimes we don't even have a clear idea of our end goal. We don't know if we are getting there.
Yeah, like if I look back and all, like, you know, those people that had their life figured out, I was like, I have no idea. Either they're crazy or I'm completely out of line because I have no idea. Like, I just kind of have this blurry image of a direction that I want to go, but I didn't.
So keep in mind, nothing's perfect, nothing's linear, and everything's all right. Oh, it will be all right. How is your journey abroad?
So it started with Paris. That was the first time. And then, so I went back to São Paulo and I tried to make my life there again. I thought it was time to go back. I missed my country so much, my city, and mostly the summer and, you know, the good weather and all that stuff. And obviously my friends and family, but like the lifestyle. And when I went back, I couldn't fit myself anymore. I felt that I was a stranger. Like I didn't fit in that life because people wanted me to be the same Olivia that left. And I wasn't that person anymore. Like your family and your friends, they have that image that you're still the same person. And they kind of like expect you to act certain ways that it's not you anymore. So I just felt that I tried for 2 years. And even though I tried having like I had different life and everything, like I couldn't fit anymore. I felt that I needed the challenge of not having people know how I am or how, because every place, there's a different culture, there's a different language. Even though if you speak English, now here I'm in Ireland, like, but the English is so different. There's so many different ways of saying things. It's localization. So each place has their own peculiarities. And I think for me, it helped me reinvent myself. You know, it's like I can really be whoever it is that I want to be, without having anybody's expectation. And in a way, it's very challenging, obviously, because you have to be true to yourself above everything else. And I find oftentimes it's the most difficult thing that we do is like is the promises that you keep to yourself that are most valuable. You know, like the things that you tell yourself. Are you there to support yourself when you fall? Like, are you there to like cheer you up and say like, no, you're fine. You know how we talk to yourself like you talk to your best friend, and how oftentimes we're so nice to our best friends and we're so helpful to them. And it's like, no, don't worry about it. You can do it. And I can dust them off and go back to the arena. You got this. But then when it's yourself, are you there to support yourself as well? And I think that all this journey for me has a lot been like that as well. Like, you know, I have to do this and I'm doing this for myself and I have to be there. I have to be my best friend. And the longest relationship you're ever going to have, right, with yourself. So I think it's like this back and forth and this showing up over and over again and again, then day after day, to reinvent yourself and to decide, is this a program that I want to run in my brain, or is it time for an update? You know, because oftentimes like the stories that we're telling ourselves, they're dictating the life that we're going to have. And I felt that for me, when I tried to go back to São Paulo, it was really difficult because I had so much interference, you know. I needed to get out of that. It's different. I don't know, but it's weird.
What's the one thing you wish you had known when you began your career?
I think if I could talk to myself like a few years ago, I would tell myself, look, just follow your heart and enjoy the process of every little thing that you're doing. Because at the time I'd be like, okay, now I'm a photographer. And I got all the gear I could. Obviously I couldn't get everything at once. And, you know, I struggled and got this and that. But then it's like, no, this is going to be my life. But you know, when you put like so much expectations and then things don't work out the way you expected them to, and then like you fall in love with something else and you're like, oh, and there's UX design, this is really cool, and this, you know, and it has to do everything with what I was doing before in international relations, because I was studying human behavior and how people were acting differently in social media, like in the beginning of social media, you know, like the Google product that was Orkut in Brazil. So everything was connected. So if I had known, like, and not put so much pressure on myself at the time and be like, just girl, just chill. You know, the most important thing is follow your heart. Are you loving the process of this thing that you're learning? Like for myself, that was studying international relations and affairs at the time. We're enjoying. I was loving it. I loved it. Right. And then after that, like, when I was in Paris and I was studying art, and it was I was loving it. Like how many nights over and over. There was a semester that I could never sleep on Mondays because I had so much work to do that I knew that Mondays I would never sleep. So it was so much struggle, and also like understanding the language. And I remember that was one of the classes that I was the only foreigner, and yeah, there was so much stuff that I couldn't understand. I had to record the classes so I could listen after to follow the instructions. I mean, but I was enjoying it. So I think like, and all of those moments and those things that I've learned, they have brought me here to this one place where I'm being able to wear all these hats, and I can say like, oh wow, there's actually now a thing that I can do that like entails all of these little things that I did along the way that obviously weren't so little at the time. They were everything, right? But I think like to have this more of I think being engaged in things just like kids, you know, like kids like, okay, we're gonna play hide and seek, and you're on like completely on it, you know, like I'm gonna hide and I'm gonna be the best, and you get all that thing, and then okay, it's over, let's play something else.
Maybe we should keep this in mind. Every time you see something you like to do, think about what a child would do. They would probably just enjoy the moment and have fun. And if it is hide and seek, they will just enjoy that moment and have as much fun as possible, not think about playing hide and seek professionally, right?
Just enjoy the moment. And it's like you're completely engaged with the thing that you're doing, as if it was like the only thing really, because all that you have is the present moment anyway. So, you know, it's like you're playing that, dedicating yourself to that, but no pressure, like detach and like do your best. What I'm trying to say is, I guess, is like try and let go of the results, because you can't control the results. But like if you show up and you're doing what your heart tells you, and you love the process and you're passionate about the process, you're in the right direction. And who knows where that's going to take you, because life is a mystery. Anything can happen.
Adding to that, sometimes we are the only immigrant in the group, and of course there's a discomfort. And in the beginning it was really hard for me, and now the way I see it is just, I think that I'm there and I'm opening the door for the next one, and soon we'll have more. Sometimes it might be really hard for me, and I try to think that, for the next one, things can be easier, and I hope it can be easier, and I hope I can help.
Yeah, definitely. Because like if you think about it, like we're all standing at the shoulders of our ancestors. We all are. Like we have the lives that we have today because of our ancestors, because people before us stood up for what mattered to them. You know, like we're not here by chance. And it's also a practice to realize that, okay, I'm going to do this. Like when you have to stand up for something, or you have to, in those moments when you really test your values, like, okay, is this really my value? I'm going to stand up and I'm going to say something, or it's just for show. It's one of those moments, like when you encounter those moments and you're like, I have to do something because otherwise I'm not acting within my integrity, that you test your values. You also realize I'm doing this, and this is going to be better for the next person that will come after me, and will also be better for the people that are walking this journey with me. So it's like in yoga, we do this a lot. And I love that. It's just, like giving thanks for the people that came before you, the people that are walking with you, and the people that will come after you. And this earth will still be here. It still heal itself. So, and also like in 100 years, maybe not even everybody that we've known will even remember that we existed. None of this will matter.
What's your advice for Latinx who is looking for a job or changing career?
I would say, girl, follow your heart. Learn this, no pressure, but think about what it is that you do, that you love the process, that you're passionate about. That's your thing. And each one of us, we're so unique. We have so many unique experiences, and we come from different places. We have different experiences. And if you are the place where you are at the moment, you need this place as much as it needs you. And just focus on this, like what it is that you love your process, focus on it. And even if you can't have any certainties, because come on, what kind of certainty do we have in our lives? But just follow your heart, because what does it matter to be here and not do that? You have to. You owe that to yourself.
I want to add to that it's also important for us, not just immigrants, but everyone, to keep in mind what we are already good at. Just not focus on the things you are lacking, because of course it's important to think about improving and study and all about that, but also keep in mind what you're already good at. And if you're an immigrant and you work with global products and global markets, you can bring a lot to the table. So don't forget about that.
And do things that are easy for you. That, like, remember when I was in San Francisco and I was struggling, it took me over a year. I think it took me a year to find a job, because I was freelancing, I was doing pro bono, I was doing all kinds of things. But like to get me a steady job, it took me a long time. And I remember my mom telling me super simple like stuff, and she said, like, you're gonna find something that is really easy for you to do, and that you can do, like in Brazil we say com o pé nas costas, that you're gonna do something that you can do with your feet on your back, upside down, however you want to do it. And I think it's related to that, like it's something that you love, showing up for the process. Like you show up for it again and again, and you enjoy the process. And it's something that is easy for you because you're passionate about it.
What are the best resources that have helped you along the way?
Definitely yoga. Yoga and meditation. And obviously my friends. On the internet, if I didn't have the internet with WhatsApp, I could talk to my friends because I have friends everywhere in the world, right? And I talk to them on a weekly basis, not every day with everybody, but I keep there's a flow, if there's a flow going on all the time. And we exchange a lot of deep stuff that are happening. And it's like, that's very important for me. Like most of my friends are on my phone, because they're, of course I have amazing friends here and I have a great support system here in Cork. But I also have on the internet, on WhatsApp, and because of the different time zones, we send voice notes to one another and we listen when we have the time, and we're always helping each other when we need and, giving the support that we need. That's very important, to have that, to have people that you can talk to, that you can relate. Like you can't do things by yourself, you can't. But the first one in that list is yourself. Like, how can you support yourself? And for me, that is also yoga. So it's like I show up again and again. And today my body is not the same as it was yesterday. And tomorrow it might be even better, but might not. So it's also that remembering of I'm showing up with what I have today. And that's what I have to offer. And that's totally fine. And also remembering to take a break when you're tired, giving yourself that space to digest information that you need. Like oftentimes we need to learn how to say no, because when you say no, you say yes to yourself and to the things that matter to you. So also something else that is very, very, very important is who you spend your energy with, because it can be on the phone or it can be or scrolling social media. Like, how do you spend your energy? And are these people fanning your flames, or are they pissing on them? Like Will Smith said it in a video, and I love that because it's really funny and it's really true. Like, are the people around you, are they fanning your flames, or are they pissing on them? So are they pulling you up and they're helping you grow and they're challenging you to be better, the better version of yourself, or they're just pulling you down and vampires sucking all of your energy and life force? So that's also an act of self-love, to have amazing people around you.
And now tell me the first thing that comes to your mind when you hear these questions. Last meal you had?
Today's lunch for sure. Every day is a surprise at Ben's kitchen. My husband, he loves cooking and he's French, and he could be a really famous French chef if you want it, vegan. And it's amazing. And today's lunch, yeah.
And your happy place?
I think it's important to have a happy place in every place that you are. So my current happy place in Cork is the marina. So it's a place that I also love taking walks. I think taking a walk is it's your body moving, and when you're stuck in a loop sometimes and you're like just go for a walk. And one place that I love to go for a walk is at the marina here. It's beautiful by the water, it's soothing, and it really grounds me. So it's important to know what's your happy place.
And what is the last skill you learned?
The Indian harmonium. I'm learning how to play the Indian harmonium.
And what is your favorite book?
That's a tough one. I'd say my favorite book of the moment, I'd say is Dare to Lead from Brené Brown and The New Earth from Eckhart Tolle.
What's your superpower?
I think my superpower is to connect with people and to empathize to what they're feeling, and to be able to see the best in people and connect with that and help them realize that for themselves. And I have friends that tell me, that I can really be myself. I don't have I feel at ease to talk and to be myself and to talk about anything with you.
Definitely. I totally agree. Your superpower, it's connection. Just thinking about your wedding party. You had a 3-day party. I forgot the number of the countries you had in your wedding, and it was magical and amazing. I remember I was speaking Portuguese and English, trying to speak in Spanish and listening to French and trying to say some silly words. So it was an experience.
Yeah, we had invited 25 different countries, not people, there are more people than 25, but yeah, but in the end only 17 were able to come, 17 different countries. So we had we printed all the flags and everything. It was really cool. But yeah, I think, yeah, definitely my superpower is connecting with people, because I have friends that I can count on, and I have really great friends in every continent and in a lot of different places. I have somebody I can call and say hey, I'm here, let's meet, and, or help me out. I'm in danger and whatever, I have really people I can count on. And also, my friends tell me that they find it easy to talk and it's easy to open up.
How the pandemic is affecting your life and work?
I'm telling myself, yes, it's an opportunity to practice patience. And then the other moment, I'm like, I'm tired of practicing it. I'm so tired. I don't want to practice patience anymore. But at the same time, it's been so crazy, so many ups and downs. But I think I have been working a lot more, even though I do have discipline, and I have created a system in my house where my workspace is in one corner and it's always in that corner, and nothing else happens in that corner but work. And then I have my yoga space, and then I have my reading space, and then I have which is also my meditation. So it's not like I have a huge house, but I just kind of divided the place in small slots kind of thing. And this has been really helpful, because then I just go to the bedroom has the energy to sleep, and then the work to work and to watch something, So I think that's also helpful for me. Yeah, it's been crazy, and everything that's been happening everywhere in the world, but also being far away from my family and friends and all the things that are happening in Brazil. Here in Ireland, we weren't hit that hard, and people were really amazing here, and how to take care of, the people, and the how to stop the curve. But yeah, in other places, it's been, especially Brazil, it's been terrible. I just feel that one day is exactly like the other, because I don't leave that house that much. When I have the opportunity, I go for my walks at the marina, but you know how it is in Ireland. It rains a lot, even though it's summer. We had 3 days of sunshine. So it's not always easy to go out and go for walks.
We had great learnings for today. So far, the first one, I think is really interesting. Find things that are easy for you. Don't try to overcomplicate. The expression we say in Portuguese is pé nas costas. So you do things with your feet in your back. That sounds terrible and difficult, but this is the expression we have in Portuguese. The second one is to find your support group, people that will help you along the way. The third one will be find your happy place, do things that makes you feel happy. And I think it's really important too is keep in mind that life is not linear. You don't need to have everything figured out. It's okay. It's okay. You will find your way along the way and make the journey happy and fun. So we are getting to the end. I want to thank you so much. I'm going to share in the description of this podcast Olivia's website. So if you want to see her work and get in contact with her, so you can take a look. So thank you, Olivia.
Thank you. It was an honor. Thank you so much for doing this and for inspiring all of us. You definitely inspire me. Thank you.
Awesome. Same. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Bye.
That's it for today. Thanks for listening, and I hope you enjoyed it. We'll have more interviews with amazing Latinx every first Tuesday of the month. Check our website, latinxempower.com, to hear more. Don't forget to share comments and feedback, always with kindness. See you soon.